Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Hurry Up Live. I am your host, Adam. Let's get into this. So, it is draft day, draft day, draft day. Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, we have made it. Before we get into that, before we get into the draft and the draft itself and all the festivities that are going on with it, I just wanted to show you this again. This is last week. I know last week we had a Hurry Up Live. You couldn't really see it. This is the 2019 NFL Draft Guide, Lindsay. Correct? This is the 2022 NFL Draft Guide. Now, there was a discussion last night about a certain quarterback on this team and why he should not be taken. Now, I'm going to only touch on this quickly because I'm over this topic, I'm over this player, and I'm over talking about it. But if you were to go back in these draft guides, in 2019, this certain quarterback, I'll give you his initials, and now I can put on the background. I just wanted to show you that. Without the background, you couldn't see it, but let's go with the background. And so here we are. We're back. Just wanted to drop the background so you guys saw the magazines. But in the 2019 magazine, actually, let me drop the background again so you can really see these stuff right here, and I'll put it back on later on the show. I know you got this riveting radio for you guys, but anyways, so last night I went on a stream, and these people were talking about Daniel effing Jones. Okay, this guy as if he was like he's owed something. The last time he's done something will be the first time he's done something. Okay. Just because he had a good rookie year. So I just wanted to show you that in the 2019 draft, that's Dwayne Haskins right there. The grade for the quarterbacks is a C+. And they rate Daniel Jones. Actually, Daniel Jones is the number 2 quarterback apparently on here in the list. And then there's Kyler Murray, right? So who went first? Kyler Murray in that draft. But I'm just showing you the rankings that are a C+. Now, the other draft guy, the one that really matters, the one that's this year, not 3 years ago. But what, Adam, what are you doing? Why are you doing this exercise? What does it matter? Blah, blah, blah. It matters. Because in this same draft, 2022, oh, look who that is. Kenny Pickett, C+. My point is, you're trying to tell me that you can't draft a quarterback in Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett because Daniel Jones is better than them. Well, of course he's better than them. He's been in the NFL for 4 years. But you got to measure them. Like I said, obviously people don't listen to my podcast enough. Maybe I should put it on every platform there is. But Jesus, people don't understand. Like, I get your facts. We'll go down the list. Facts. The offensive line sucked. Facts. The offense sucked. Facts. His guy got injured. Those are all facts. But here's a few other facts. Okay, Daniel Jones hasn't improved in 4 years in some of the weaknesses that he had in terms of reading the defense. Facts. Staying healthy. Facts. Turning the ball over. Facts. Okay, those are things that he needs to work on. When you're injured, don't try to put yourself in harm's way. He still does that. Turning the ball over, let's protect it. He still does that. Reading defenses, processing, he still has trouble with that. So just because Brian Daboll comes in with a new system and puts a couple shiny new used linemen in front of him, he's supposed to be this great thing. Well, facts, and more facts, people. The facts are that he hasn't stayed healthy in 4 years. Fact. Okay? The fact is Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder are all rated higher than that guy. Sorry about that, folks. I got work hounding me, and I got, a son hounding me as well. So those are facts. Okay. Now, I want to touch on this quickly, and I want to end and get to some draft stuff. Now, I'm going to support the kid because he's on the Giants, but I don't think he's going to be here next year. And if he is, great. More power to him. That means he did a great job. If he's not, great. But the point is, the thing that got me going was that on this cast, they were telling us that if you don't believe in Daniel Jones, you're going to have to eat crow this season. And I said, I'm more than willing to eat crow if he stinks. But if he's bad, there'll be scorched earth because you'll not be able to live that down. Okay. Just like people are going to say, well, you said Daniel Jones sucked and he didn't. There's a couple factors that I want to bring up with Daniel Jones. One, if he balls out like certain people think he might, then guess what? He's going to price himself off the Giants. Because if you're rebuilding, you're not going to pay him $30 million for a year and then have a $11 million quarterback behind him as well. That's $40 million tied up in the quarterbacks itself. So then let's say you do that. The Giants don't extend his offer, right? Because they shouldn't. They don't extend his offer, and they push it back, and he gets franchised. That's almost $30 million. Then let's say he balls out again. You're going to pay him over $100 million, the $100 million quarterback. That's what you got to ask yourself. So before we sit here and go on this tangent about this kid, those are the facts you need to look into. The other thing I want to say is this reminds me of 1997 with another Duke quarterback that they were trying to push through and push on the fan base to see if this guy was good. Well, guess what? That was Dave effing Brown. They brought in Jim Fossil to do the same thing that they're doing here because a guy on the Arizona Cardinals threw for 500 yards. And another thing, people were like, oh, look at the stats. Daniel Jones won a bowl game. That means he's better than Malik Willis. Give me a break. You won a bowl game against Temple, and I'm supposed to say you're a good quarterback? Absolutely insanity that Daniel Jones frenzy brings up. But I'm over this. I'm moving on. I'm tired of it. But my last point was Dave Brown, they brought in a guy named Jim Fossil because Jim Fossil made Kent Graham and Boomer Esiason look like reputable quarterbacks. Well, guess what? That's probably what's going to happen here. And we have no idea how many games the Giants are going to win. And there are going to be teams, depending on when you play them, that may be looking for quarterbacks that may be tanking at the end of the season. So if you play Detroit Lions at the end of the year or the Texans at the end of the year and they're looking at a quarterback, well, guess what? They're not going to want to beat you. So it's going to be fool's gold if the Giants happen to win 8 games and then next year the schedule gets harder and you have no players and you get beat down. And people want to tell me about the competition that Malik Willis had. And we'll get into the draft, right? Malik Willis, let's talk about him a little bit. Someone said to me that, he transferred from Auburn to Liberty. Well, he couldn't make it on Auburn. No, he transferred from Auburn because he wasn't going to get playing time at Auburn. So why waste time with your thumb up your ass hoping you get some playing time when Liberty is going to offer you a ride and a starting position? I hope people realize that Joe Burrow was on Ohio State and left to go to LSU. Does he stink because he didn't make it on Ohio State? I don't think so. JPP transferred colleges too. He went from a JUCO college to University of Southern Florida. So don't tell me because a guy transferred from Auburn that he's not good. He got recruited by Auburn. Daniel Jones had to walk on to Duke. Are you kidding me? And then someone's like, well, how many guys are in the NFL from Daniel Jones? How many people from Liberty have been in the NFL? Don't worry. I'll wait. I'm just saying, when you look at the draft, you got to evaluate a player from when he comes in, how much his talent is, and where it's going from there. Kyle Brandt said this. He goes, the Giants should draft Malik Willis at 5. He put it on Twitter. He said he got half responses at you're 100% right, and then half responses at you're 100% wrong. And the people who said you're wrong said, why would you reach for a quarterback now when you reach for Daniel Jones then? Because In Brian Daboll's system, he might be a better fit than Daniel Jones. Oh, but wait, did you watch the tape? Yeah, I watched the tape. I have Google. I have YouTube. I can watch just the same amount of highlights and cut-ups that you can. It's an opinion. And the problem is people think their opinion is better because maybe they watch film. Or maybe they have a podcast and talk about it every night. Give me a break. Okay? I'm over it. I see what I see at Daniel Jones and I'm sticking by it. If I'm wrong, so be it. But I'm not going to talk out of both sides of my mouth and say 1 week I hate Daniel Jones, 1 week I love Daniel Jones, and next thing you know, when Daniel Jones is here or not here, you're going to say, well, I was right. How are you right if you talk both sides of your mouth? Either stick with your point and be convicted and believe in it, or don't say, hey, I've changed my mind and this is what I'm going to. But people talk out both sides of their mouth to be right. It ain't about being right. Do the facts. Don't just tell me the offensive line stinks and now he's going to be good because they bring in guys. Hey, Jeff. Hey, people in the chat. Logan, Mac, Giants fan, thanks for tuning in. I'm doing a little hot take about Daniel Jones. I'm a little furious about what went on last night and the debauchery that was a conversation. But anywho, moving on from Daniel Jones, because I guess we can't talk about the prodigal son, okay? I guess he's so good that we can't dissect him. And the only argument is, well, they did wrong by him. Give me an effing break. Look at Malik Willis. I'm watching Malik Willis highlights right now, and he is whirling dervishing around these people on the team. He did 3 spin moves to avoid tacklers who he, by the way, had no offensive line last year, rolled out and threw for over, 2,000 yards last year and had better touchdown numbers than Daniel Jones, but yet he's a bad quarterback because we already know he's going to stink. You have no idea. This is why you draft. This is the whole point. And let's get into the draft. The draft is something that is so fun for me in this time of year. I love it. It's like Christmas for NFL fans if you're really into it. Remember, the draft back in the day wasn't much. It was just them in a room with some telephones and Pete Rozelle saying, win the first pick in the NFL draft, the New York Giants select, quarterback Phil Simms, right? Hopefully we're it's better than that. It's grown into this monopoly, this event, this spectacle. Probably more though than any other draft that you've seen. The MLB draft doesn't get this coverage. The NHL draft has like a few rounds and there's a couple days, but nobody knows these players because they're from all over the damn globe. And then you have the NBA draft, who is 2 rounds. Great job. You know what I mean? Give me a break. It's a snooze fest. Okay, the NFL draft is the most dissected draft, the most publicized draft, everything going on in that draft area. It's just that's how it's going down, right? And for me, this is what I think needs to happen. Okay? Everything that we see, we need to take this moment in because for the first time in a long time, we don't know the first 5 picks. We don't know what's going to happen. We speculated since freaking January. I'm over this speculation. I'm so glad it's here. I want to be happy, but I'm not even happy. I'm waiting for the second round because the first round we've talked about since January. The same 7 players coming to the Giants. Oh, it's Thibodeau. Oh, it's this, it's that, it's this, it's that. Oh, no, it's Sauce Gardner. Oh, this rumor, that rumor. Finally, it's over. Finally, it gets to be ended today. You know what I'm wearing? I'm wearing this hoodie. That's all I'm doing. I'm wearing this hoodie. I don't wear jerseys of players unless it's Eli Manning or Lawrence Taylor. Damn sure I'm not dusting off my Daniel Jones jersey. That's for sure. And another thing about him before I get back into the draft and some memories is everybody hated the pick coming out, and all of a sudden now you love the guy. Give me a break. All you people who hated the pick coming out and are now on the bandwagon need to step the fuck up and say, yeah, I didn't like the pick now, and this is the reason why I like it now. What's going on, Kayla? How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Anyways, the draft is in Las Vegas. I am live in Las Vegas. No, not really. I'm just in my living room. But I am in full awe of the draft. We have draft moments. What draft moment will be captured tonight? people remember the Eli Manning draft and how he went about that. People remember Jamarcus Russell. Al Davis chose that guy because he could throw 60 yards on a rope from his knee. Great job, Al. That was a great call. Then you had the Aaron Rodgers fall the dip. He was supposed to be the number 2 quarterback, or at least number 1. The 49ers chose Alex Smith, and he just dropped, and then boop, Green Bay plucked him out of there in 2005. Then the Green Bay Packers did select Jordan Love a few years ago, and it was just interesting to see. Mac the Giant fan. Here's a comment about him. First, Jeff thinks the Eagles are drafting a QB. I don't think so. They're probably going to draft Devin Lloyd or some crazy defensive player that's going to kill us. I'm just right down the middle on Jones. He gets my support because of the uniform. Exactly. He'll get my support because of the uniform, but you better believe that guy is under the microscope of microscopes. The Hubble telescope will be directly on Daniel Jones's ass all season. They're going to be able to see him in Russia, how big he does. Well, we're going to be seeing him from space. From space. And the other thing is that we should move on from Daniel Jones a while ago. Any rumors come out regarding the Eagles? I don't know. Not hearing much of anything that they're just going to draft defensive players. See, here's what I think is going to happen for the Eagles. And let's get into the draft. Draft day moments, memories. I know where I was when Eli Manning was drafted. I know what happened in certain drafts. I was there for, most of the draft. I can tell you all the draft picks from the Giants since 1995, the first rounds at least. But I'm not going to do it here on this show. I don't want to make you sleep bored, right? I don't want you to fall asleep, because that would be funny. If Daniel Jones is not in the top 10 and throws 30 touchdowns and 44,000 yards and limits the turnovers, his ass has got to go, okay? I don't want another Ryan Tannehill on this team. We can move it on. But anyways, like I said, the Giants are here. See, you guys are commenting, 30-plus touchdowns. It's, the Eagles, to me, let's get into the draft. All right, so the first pick is Jaguars. We don't even know what they're picking. I'm hearing rumors that the owner wants Trayvon Walker. Oh, no, the owner wants Aiden Hutchinson. The GM wants Trayvon Walker, and the Doug Peterson wants, somebody else, right? So they're not even on the same page. So we'll see what happens. Then Detroit comes in. What is Detroit going to do? If they have Aiden Hutchinson, I'm taking him. Right? And then the number 3 pick with the Texans could really is when the draft is going to start, I feel. Because you have no idea what they're going to do, right? You have no idea what they're going to do in terms of, you don't know what they're going to do. And that's the intriguing part. Then you get down to the Jets. Right, and the Jets are intriguing for me because there's so many rumors going around Florham Park, New Jersey, that it's crazy. Speaking of the devil, the Eagles are up right now, and on NFL Network. Let me put that on the background a little bit for you guys, so we can hear what they're going. So Kayla's going to get her live update. But anyways, the owner has the final say, but who knows what's going on in that room, Jeff? Who knows? Who knows? And then the thing is, the Jets are interesting because they like Sauce Gardner. They like the edge rusher. They like the receivers, right? To me, for the Jets, take your edge rusher, man. Take your edge rusher or your lineman. If you don't want, if Kayvon Thibodeau is gone and you don't want to, draft Jermaine Johnson at 4, then take Ike Ekwonu or Neal. Solidify your line, protect your quarterback. That's what smart organizations do. Dumb ones trade back and draft Kadarius Toney instead of taking offensive linemen. But hey, what do I know, right? So for me, that's the Jets at 4. At 5, I don't care what the Giants do, really. But there's a rumor that's going around that they are not opposed to not taking a lineman at 5 or 7. And I know that some people would go to MetLife Stadium. MetLife Stadium and burn down the war room if that happened. I feel like the Giants need to come away with a tackle in this. And then number 7 is the wild card. You can do whatever you want there. So for me, the Giants, if Tibbs is there, you take Tibbs. Okay. You take Davon Thibodeau and you don't think twice about it. Right. You put him in Wink Martindale's system and you get the best out of that guy. Okay. I know everyone's all about the brand and all this stuff. Who cares? Who gives a damn? If the guy shows up to play on Sunday, what do I care that he wants to, sell crypto or be a rap star? I mean, get over yourselves. We need to get out of this old age to think that guys can't have outside interests. Hey, let me ask you folks, do you guys have outside interests on your jobs? Do you? Do you? Because to me, if you have hobbies outside of work, does your job go, well, you shouldn't have these hobbies. You're not focused on your job. Give me an effing break. As long as he's at the job and he's 100% locked in from when he gets into that building to when he leaves, I don't care what he does on his off season, on his day off, and whatever the hell he's doing. Right? Oh, well, he's too arrogant. Give me a break. What do you want the guy not to have confidence? Well, I don't think I'm the best edge rusher out there. I think I'm only half a edge rusher. Give me a break. I'm tired of that crap. People need to just get over themselves, For me, who I want for the Giants, pick your lineman. I love Neal. I love Evan Neal, and here's why. Okay. He played at Alabama in the SEC. Competition, he's been tested every week for 4 years in college. Ike Ekwonu, who I like, doesn't have the same power as Neal. Okay. And Neal has better pass blocking than Ekwonu. He may not be the best pass blocker in this draft, but the Giants need a guy who has right tackle experience. Charles Cross plays left tackle. And I don't want to move Andrew Thomas to make some guy, I don't want, to move Andrew Thomas because we drafted Charles Cross and he can only play left tackle. Too bad. Give me the guy that I know has done it, that's won national titles and been in national title games. Pedigree. A lot of linemen have come out of, Alabama. I know some people are going to say, well, what about that flop that was here this year from the Tennessee Titans from Alabama? That's not every lineman. Georgia has good linemen too. I just think that Evan Neal, when I look at that man and I see him play, I'm like, that's a great guy. And mind you, there was at one point he was the first overall pick in the draft, so the Giants weren't going to get him, so they were going to settle for Ekwonu. But now all of a sudden, because we have it's rumor central around here, we can't get anything done. Yes, exactly, Mac. Plug and play. And as he gets older, if his skills diminish, you kick him into guard. I know there's no perfect prospect out there. So we need to get that out of our head. Okay. And the thing is these are all projections that we're making right now. Just like the damn weatherman or weather girl tells you that it's going to rain outside and it doesn't. They're not always accurate. You know why they're not always accurate? Because when you got Aaron Rodgers falling to people, okay? If you got Aaron Rodgers wrong, and a lot of teams did, how can I trust the process? These guys are busts every time. Because you don't know what factors are going to be in their lives, what people they're going to surround themselves with, and what they're going to do in general as people. Just because Kayvon Thibodeau now doesn't look like he's serious about football, how do you know he doesn't come in and have a Hall of Fame career? Oh, wait, you don't. You can't just predetermine a guy because you look at some stats. And because some scout who gets paid, who, by the way, the hit rate on players is like barely 50%, okay? You're gonna let me rely on that? That's what you want me to rely on? Guys who can't even get together as draft scouts? Come on. If this were an exact science, everybody would be a hit, and that's not the case. Because some players that you like go to a team that stink. Look at Derek Carr. Look at David Carr, okay? David Carr went to the Texans because they were the first team in the draft. That Texan team had nobody. They had nobody. He got sacked 76 times, and it ruined his career because he was a shot fighter, right? Then you got guys like John Randall, who's undrafted because he's too small, ends up going to the Hall of Fame. Guys like Jesse Armstead, who get picked in the 8th round. By the way, the 8th round is not here anymore. And earned 5 Pro Bowls and is in the Ring of Honor for the Giants. You got Michael Strahan, who was drafted in the 3rd round. You can find players everywhere. What up, Coach Dante? You can't just put it out there and say, well, this guy's not going to be good because, right? You got to translate the traits. Just like when you go to a job interview and they're sitting there and they're talking to you about stuff, right? And they're asking you, can you do the job? You need to know if you can do the job and if you're the right fit. And if you're not the right fit, they get rid of you. If you are the right, sometimes they try to keep you, blah, 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 he's a good guy. It's about the job. This is a job interview. This is about what this team thinks. Just because you have Neil rated high or Ekwonu rated high doesn't mean the team does. Doesn't mean that's their guy on their board. They have boards and scouts and ratings for a reason. And they fall in love with players such as Darius Hayward-Bay in the 2009 draft. Right? It's not a perfect science. Because if it was, everybody would be a Hall of Famer, and they're not. And just because one player works out on one team doesn't mean that player is going to work out for you. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, we want to bring in this guy. How do you know Ekwonu's not going to come in here and blow at his knee and be a total bust? Why? Because Mel Kiper, Todd McShay, or Dane Brugler, or a few other guys say he's going to be good? Just like the Giants say that they've done teams wrong, right? Just because they're doing things wrong doesn't mean these guys can handle it. Think about where you were at 22. Think about where you were at 22. You get $1 million. You had nothing but a bunch of lint and dust in your pockets. You had nothing in your pockets as a college student. Somebody now offers you $1 million and you do things that you never did before. And you think, well, I can stay up late and party and still go to the meetings. This is easy. Well, guess what? It's not. That's why they don't always do well. Okay? That they don't always do well. Because they go from being students to now professional men. Wives, girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever they got it going on. Right? These things come into play. People asking you for money that you never heard of or heard from. The work ethic is different. The grown men playing in this game. This ain't the USFL. This is the NFL. Okay? The best of the best get here. And the best of the best stay. And it's not always the team you go to. Right? Because why is the draft this way? The draft is this way to make it a competitive advantage for the crappier teams to do well. To draft the best players, to get the first pick of the good players. Does that mean they're going to pan out? No. Does that mean they're going to be great? No. Does that mean if the Lions draft Trayvon Walker, he's going to be a Hall of Famer? No, it doesn't. Because we don't know. It's about system. People have gotten to jobs in relationships and things that they don't like. Sometimes you stay and it's not the best thing, but this is how you have to look at it. And the draft is the greatest showcase of that. This is going to be immortalized in history. You think the WWE has WrestleMania as a showcase of the immortals? Well, the draft is a similar thing. We're going to see hand pounds, hugs, people flip-flopping and doing all this crazy stuff with Roger Goodell booing him. It's a whole event. And we get so hyped up with the media because that's all we're hearing. Podcasts from this guy, podcasts from that guy, this podcast, that podcast. Hey, Miz, what's going on? We get so caught up in the media and the hoopla to which the media brings out these players. Oh, this guy had a mock draft, so it must be true. Oh, Bucky Brooks had 10 mock drafts. It must be true. No, this is what I'm talking about. You got to do your own research. I bet people don't know that many people passed top 10, right? But there's going to be people that slip into the draft that you didn't think on your board or anybody's board they're going to be there. Guys are going to reach higher. A friend of mine, Buko, if you're in the chat, He said this. He said something that I agree with him. He said there are going to be third round draft choices that are really fifth round. He said there are going to be people picked in the fifth round that should have been in the third round, and there are going to be people picked in the third round that should have been in the fifth round. In this draft, it's one of the best interesting in history because after like the top 8 players, everybody from basically 8 or out, let's just do the top 10. Everybody from basically 11 to 32 are all ranked similarly. Even into the top 50. They're not that much of a drop-off of players. So for me, just like WWE, I love the surprises. But for me, if I'm the Giants, I want more picks. I want more bites at the apple of these young players, these franchise builders, And if you happen to draft a quarterback like a Sam Howell or a Desmond Ridder, you take that guy and you don't think twice about it. Because you think that guy's going to be your future. You don't draft, listen, people, you don't draft to draft for today. You draft for the next 4 or 5 years. Because these are the guys you're hoping to be on your roster for that time. For that time. You don't draft for this year. You draft for next year and the year after that. So if you decide that, you come to a consensus that at 36, Sam Howell's your guy, you take him. And you don't think twice about it. And you put a guy in your system. You know what I mean? I think the Giants want to trade out of 7. I really do. I really don't think that they mind picking somebody there. But I do believe that they might want to trade out. And if I were them, why wouldn't you? Get another second-round pick. Get another third-round pick. I know they're talking about next year, but guess what? If you can't acquire a first-round pick next year, you take your quarterback now and you say, let's get a guy in here as a backup plan if we can't get in the top 10. Because guess what? If people think that the Giants, who apparently, they think they're going to win games, 7 to 8 games, that means that's putting you outside the top 10. That means you're probably mortgaging the farm because there's probably going to be 5 other teams or 6 other teams that are going to need quarterbacks. And maybe there's a team that trades up and it does a Mitchell Trubisky, gives up the farm. What are you willing to give up to get that guy? Or why not have a guy in-house that we can, groom and trade because his contract isn't going to be that big? Remember, folks, the contracts have changed. And that's the reason why you see so many trades in the draft. You never used to trade in the top 10 because unless you needed a quarterback, because the contracts were astronomical coming out. Astronomical. They were paying Sam Bradford $65 million over the course of 3 years. The guy hadn't even played a down in the NFL yet. So then they renegotiated, and here we are. Here we are. So people, I want you to understand these little nuggets. Okay? These little nuggets are the things that keep the draft alive, that GMs lose jobs. If I'm Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at Daniel Jones, and by Monday he'll either have his extension or he won't. And I'm looking at Daniel Jones like, is this the guy that I want the next 5 years? Or is he not? If he's a no, you choose somebody. Now, guess what? I've heard of picking quarterbacks or a player just because the other one's not working out. Look at the Cardinals, man. Cardinals are a prime example of why you can't just rely on the top 10. They drafted Josh Rosen. He had like 3,000 yards and like 12 touchdowns or some shit. The next coaching staff came in and said, "You're out of here, kid. I don't care about your promising rookie year. I got a guy that fits my system. I'm getting him." And now Kyle Murray is there, and that franchise has had change success. But why? For the Giants at number 7, I wouldn't mind Jermaine Johnson. I believe the edge players are more important than a cornerback. And here's why. Because guess what? A great edge presence can make a suspect secondary look good. If they're tipping balls and making the quarterback's life miserable, then yeah, you can have guys who can make plays like Aaron Robinson and Adoree Jackson. I'm not saying that good coverage, because we've seen it. There's good coverage on the Giants, but if you can't get to the quarterback, that good coverage is useless. because the guy is still going to find somebody to get open. If the guy's got 3 or 4 or 5 seconds to read a defense, what does it matter? What does it matter if you have great corners? It means nothing. You get that edge presence and you make that guy feel uncomfortable the second he walks on the field. When he's scanning the defense and he puts his hands under center or he's in shotgun and he sees Azeez Ojulari, Leonard Williams, and Jermaine Johnson or Kayvon Thibodeau, I'm sure he's going to say, maybe I should have worn my diaper today because I might be crapping my pants later with all this defense flying at me. Now, if he sees Sauce Gardner or let's say Derek Stingley, then why doesn't he go after Darnay Holmes, right? He goes, I'm going to go after Darnay Holmes. No, because you know what? I'm going to have ample time to throw the football because the Giants can't get to the quarterback. Get to the quarterback. Pick your guy, all right? And you build this offensive line for the next quarterback, not for this quarterback. Do what the Cowboys did. The Cowboys didn't build the line for Tony Romo. They built the line for the next quarterback. It just happened to be that they drafted a guy in the 4th round who's now their franchise. And they were only bringing him in as a backup to develop him because he was a little mobile and could run around. They didn't know he was going to develop into this. And he did. We all want Aiden Hutchinson or Thibodeau or Walker. We don't know what they're going to turn into. We have no idea. And that's what makes the draft fun. That's what makes the draft fun. I'm just saying. We sit here week in and week out from January the 20th when the combine starts to and the pro and the senior bowls and all those bowl games. And ad nauseum, we go over every pick. Last year, nobody even knew Kadarius Toney's name. I did, but not many other people did. Because they were so focused on what the media was saying that they didn't study past a certain number of guys. I think you mean a crapshoot. Crapshoot. I mean, unless you're talking about fish in a barrel. But what I'm saying is it's not an exact science. You can't go into it's not like when you manufacture a car. And even that's not an exact science because they have recalls on shit as well. But do you think that they knew Joe Montana, who was drafted in the 3rd round, was going to be a Hall of Famer? No, absolutely not. Bill Walsh took him. Why? Because he fit what he was doing. The Lions took Joey Harrington. Do you think that they think he was going to be a bust? No. They took him in 2003 thinking he was going to be good. Guess what? He fell completely on his face. Do I blame Joey Harrington? Not necessarily, but he wasn't put in the greatest position. Right. It don't matter what you did in college. You got to prove it in the NFL. I don't care. And here's something that I wanted to bring up about another quarterback in this draft, Kenny Pickett. People tell me, oh, well, he's not that good. He's got 8.5-inch hands. Well, I didn't know that was a determining factor of you being good. You have 8.5-inch hands. Okay, great. Shaq had 20-inch feet. Do I give a fuck? No. You just got a really big shoe. Who gives a damn? People are sitting here talking about, he has 8.5-inch hands. He can't do it. Give me a break. He wears a glove. Okay, so did Michael Jackson. Who gives a crap? Kurt Warner wore gloves too. I'm glad we went to the same tailor this morning, Miz. But my point is that Kenny Pickett, he was number 3 in the Heisman voting. Number 3, 1, 2, 3 in the Heisman voting. Okay? So you're going to tell me that guy is not better than Daniel Jones, who wasn't even sniffing the Heisman vote? This is what I'm talking about. It's about what those teams want. Not what Brian Baldinger wants. Not what Daniel Jeremiah says. Those guys make mock drafts for nothing. That's their job, is to sit on TV and get you to get angry and call into your radio show or your local podcast, whatever the hell it may be, and make you overthink your instincts. We have no idea, again, what these kids are going to do. We're basing them on shorts, T-shirts, and the gameplay. And that's the only thing you need to do. People are telling me, well, Devin Lloyd, didn't have a great 40 time. I don't give a damn. That boy can play. What do I need to see? A 40 time? What? How fast he can run to the mini mart? Give me a break. Big Blue in the Bronx, what's going on, man? All I'm saying is that people need to stop relying so much on the media and start to watch with their eyes and the facts they've grown up loving. When I watch somebody, I don't Alex, I guess is your name, Big Blue in the Bronx. Well, how you doing, Alex? Good to see you. What I don't get why people sit here and tell me that, oh, well, he's got a great 40 time. Okay, great. When is he running 40? They don't stop and say, hey, you know what? Run 40 yards. No. Yeah, it works for a receiver for speed and explosion, but who gives a damn? You know how many guys I've seen run a lax 40, but then run by people in the NFL? Hakeem Nicks, he ran a 4.56. Boy was running by people in the NFL. Well, you know, it's his 40 time. It's his 40. Give me a break. These aren't robots. You ain't playing Madden. Okay, stop looking at the media and playing Madden and think when you draft a guy, he's going to have a 99 overall rating because he was a Heisman Trophy winner. No, what he is he's a rookie. He's got to earn his stripes. Because any NFL player will tell you, you got to earn my respect before I give it to you. Thank you. I had to bring the energy because I had to bring the heat. You know what I'm saying? Because people just don't understand. They just sit here and they just want to be like, well, this guy's going to be good. He's got to be good because he threw for this many touchdowns, or he's going to stink because he played at this school or that school. What? This is why there's guys in the third round who become Hall of Famers. And that scout that's sitting in that room who scouted that guy, you best believe he's toting his horn. He's like, yeah, man, that's the guy I picked. You think the GM is going to turn to that guy again and go, hey, man, you got that third round pick from that school. You're good to go? You got another one for me? You made me look good here. Like Joe Shane. When you watch the videos, he went to Buffalo, the college, and asked about the local products. He also was at Rutgers Pro Day. That's how you scout. You unearth everything because you never know who's going to beat out somebody. O'Shane Ximines is still on this freaking team. Do you think that he's going to be on this freaking team long if somebody else comes in and they take a guy? I don't think so. He's expendable. Darius Slayton, he wasn't drafted by this regime. See ya, bye. Go drop passes with somebody else. But no, he's a Giant. We got to be loyal. Give me a break. Give me a break. You draft the best players. You don't draft because you got a guy in front of him. If the best player on your board is Garrett Wilson at 7, and you say to the fan base, this guy is going to take us to the promised land, you draft that mofo. You don't wait and hope that he does good. And then 5 years down the road when that guy's at Pro Bowls and catching one-handed passes and doing backflips in the end zone, and we're sitting here plotting along on our next coaching decision because we didn't want to choose that guy because we wanted to draft this player over that player. Give me a break. Give me a break. You know? It's just to me, that's what, see, even Logan says Sammy Watkins is taking over Devontae Adams. So guess who had the better career? Heck, Sammy Watkins was taking over Odell Beckham Jr., and I guarantee you, if you put Odell Beckham Jr. back in the draft again and they redid the 2014 draft, he would be the first receiver taken. Period. Even Devontae Adams would be the first receiver taken. You're talking about two guys who would have flipped the script. Did any of you know that they were going to be good? No. You hoped they were going to be good because they joined your team. Nobody predicted it. Hell, and I'll say this about your quarterbacks, your great quarterbacks in Kansas City, okay? In Kansas City. Nobody thought Patrick Mahomes was going to do that well. He ain't going to take a quarterback from Texas Tech. Give me a break. Nobody thought he was going to be good until he went to the right team. Andy Reid was like, give me that guy. I'm going to make him a star. They said the same thing about Deshaun Watson. Oh, he can't throw. He's got a weak arm. He's got a noodle. Right? All he does is run. Guess what? He ended up tearing up the league. And someone told me that the 4,900 yards and the 33 touchdown don't mean a damn thing. Well, guess what? He didn't lose those games on defense, okay? His defense lost that football game. I'm just tired of people telling me that, this is an exact science. Players are going to be good because you watch some highlights or they played at this school. You have no idea. It's about the system you are in. Why do you think Daniel Jones had a great rookie year? Because the system that he was in helped him with his strength. This system now, yeah, he's going to throw the ball deep, which is one of his things that he does. But guess what? That leads to more turnovers. And Daniel Jones, we know, has a propensity to turn the football over. So before we, always do what we do, enjoy the process. Enjoy these guys. But not all of them are going to be Hall of Famers. When we get this draft class and we get all these people, right? And we get them into our system. I don't want people to be like, oh, this guy's going to be great because he did this. Hell no. That's not how you evaluate players. Just like people tell me you can't evaluate the history of a quarterback just because he comes from a certain school. You got to take a chance on that guy, right? I mean, everyone's talking about Trey Lance. Oh, he's so good, Trey Lance. Like, what did he do? He didn't play football until 2019. He came in and looked like caca. The 49ers don't even know what to do with Jimmy Garoppolo because they don't know what they have in Trey Lance. But they traded up to get him. He must be good. Johnny Manziel was taking over Derek Carr. Guess what? Derek Carr was a second-round pick. And now he's still with his football team. I'll tell you, the second best passer quarterback in the NFL was taken in the second round by the San Diego Chargers, called Drew Brees. Okay? Michael Vick was in that draft. And they decided to go with LaDainian Tomlinson over Michael Vick, and they took Drew Brees. Now, it didn't end up working out for him because he tore his shoulder up. And because he was a second-round pick and they traded for Phillip Rivers, they got rid of him. And guess what? Miami, those dumbasses decided, well, he's weak-arm quarterback, can't see, and he's got a weak noodle arm. Let's get out of here. We'll take Dante Culpepper. How'd that work out for him? He goes to the Saints and wins the Super Bowl and ends up being one of the best quarterbacks in the history of the game. I'm sorry. I'm just fired up today, people, because it's NFL draft day. I fucking love the draft. And, I'm tired of just people telling me guys are going to be good because of a scouting report, or guys are going to be good because they played at this school, or you can't choose this guy because we have this guy. I would love to be on SiriusXM. Kick off Lance Meadow and David Deal. Give me a damn spot. You hear that, SiriusXM? I used to work for you. You should have put me in the studio. I'm just saying that we sit here and we listen to all the experts. I mean, like for me, I'm excited. What channel am I going to watch the draft on? Am I going to watch it on CBS Network? Am I going to watch it on NFL ESPN? Or am I going to watch it on NFL Network? That's what you should be thinking about today. RG3 had a great rookie year. And guess what happened to him? Andrew Luck ended up being the better prospect. But we sat here and said, well, RG3 is great. Look at his rookie year. Give me a break. You don't base things off of rookie years. You base things on what have you done for me lately. And this is what the draft is going to bring out. Davis Mills was a third-round pick, coach. And you know what? You can call up Buko. Buko's in this chat. I called him out. I said, that guy is going to be a good player. You can even ask Buko in this chat. He'll tell you. To Adam's point, average backup special teamers. You can still look up his draft year scouting report. Exactly. That's exactly the same I'm talking about, Alex, Big Blue in the Bronx. You understand me. Man, we could drink some beers over some football talk, man. You're more than welcome to drink. If you ever see me in the Bronx, I'm going to crack a beer with you because you know what the hell you talking about. The NFL has no damn idea on that, right? That's what I'm saying. Really missed the mark. Why? Because he played for Iowa. Because he didn't get that much notoriety. The scouting report put their scouting reports out on him and gave him a grade. And guess what? That guy is the best tight end in the NFL, or arguably the best tight end in football. Okay? I'm just saying. What's up, Super Taj? How you doing, man? What you say, Adam? I said Buko knows that I said that Davis Mills is going to be a solid quarterback. And guess what? He had a solid rookie year. And he can vouch for me because he was on the phone call when I made that call after I watched that kid's pro day and I studied up on the guy. I said, this kid's not going to be too bad. But no, we're sitting here right now arguing over whether or not to choose a guy. Just let it play out. Let it play out. There's going to be so many surprises, not just in the first round, but in all the rounds. There are going to be guys. I mean, the Eagles took Andre Dillard, thinking that he was going to be good. He ended up being a bust. Okay, just like that Connor McGovern kid for the Cowboys. You know, and speaking of the Cowboys, I wouldn't be surprised if they got Linderbaum or Zion Johnson with their first pick at 24. Don't let them fool you. You know, I know they want a receiver, but you got to protect. Okay. And I want to address something about chaos, right? Someone told me about chaos yesterday. You know, someone said something yesterday about, oh, well, you know, I live in Brooklyn, I'm 18, so I can't legally drink, but I made a bet with Clapback Sports that if Evan Neal will take it, I'm shooting shotgun a beer. Well, listen, man, I don't condone underage drinking, but you know, maybe we'll get you the Heineken that is alcohol free. You know what I'm saying? You can have that Heineken. But my point is that yeah, see, even Chris said he was number one by a recruit, but Kakani, he'd be QB1 in this draft. Right. So if you like Davis Mills, he'd be QB1 in this draft. What does that mean, people? That means that he's better than the guys that we're speaking of. This is the draft is a fun thing to do, right? You know, I'm going to come home. I'm going to relax, drink some cognac, sit back and watch the talking heads, you know, take me through the night and tell me how good these guys are going to be. Exactly. The rest of his colleagues. But yet that guy was taken in Stanford. They made fun of him because he had the long neck like Mike Glennon. Yet here we are talking on the phone. He would be the QB1 in this draft. So if that's the case, why would they take Malik Willis? Okay. And you got to evaluate that stuff right now. Yeah, Daniel Jones had a great rookie year. Is he going to project to be a great starter? I don't know. And if you feel that he's not going to be your franchise guy, you take him. Right? If you think the receiver at 36 is your best player, you take him. James Harrison, UDFA. John Randall. I don't know if you're not old enough for John Randall, but maybe you know your history. But John Randall, UDFA, Hall of Famer. Kurt Warner was bagging freaking groceries, and he became a Hall of Famer. Terrell Davis, who's a Hall of Famer, well, we can get into that next week. A 6th-round pick. I'm over this. Victor Cruz, you know, Conrad Hamilton. You guys don't know who that is, but if you're a Giant fan, go study him. Right? These are the type of guys we're talking about. Undrafted rookies. You know that the Giants already have guys from Monmouth and around the area already committed to this team as a UDFA. That's called work. That's called scouting. John Reynolds is the top 5 defensive tackle all time, but I guess people forget about that because they watch Aaron Donald and they think that Aaron Donald's the second coming. Give me a break. Did people forget about Deacon Jones? I guess you guys don't watch NFL films. You guys need to go check out NFL films. You know, come with the facts. Come with the information. Don't just sit here and let a media narrative make you forget about everybody that was picked. Don't sit here and let the draft not be the spectacle. Enjoy the 3 days. Don't get mad if they select the guy. Give him a chance. Read up on him. Study him. See how he fits into the system. Because guess what? Just because Barkley is here, does he really fit the system? He's a great player, and we know that. But does he fit the system? You know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm talking about now. We have no idea who Joe Shane's calling up. We have no idea who's calling him. We have no idea if there's a trade in place. I will bring out this. Ernie Accorsi, when he was concocting the trade to get Eli Manning. Remember, Eli Manning was not drafted by the. So you trivia nuts out there, if they ask you who was drafted in 2004 as a quarterback, it was not Eli Manning. It was Phillip Rivers. But when he was making the trade and talking to San Diego, he basically did not throw in Osi Umenyiora, but he drafted Phillip Rivers on the contingent that the Chargers were going to make the trade. So we have no idea. Had the Chargers not drafted Eli Manning and somebody else drafted him, we don't know where that would have gone. Okay, because they were going to take Ben Roethlisberger if Eli Manning trade couldn't be dealt with. Okay, so I don't want to hear all this garbage. You know, I don't want to hear it. Just enjoy the draft. You know what I mean? We sit here and we try to project, well, Sauce Gardner is going to be good. Well, guess what? People tell me that the turf at MetLife Stadium sucks. So how do I know that he doesn't come out, pull a hamstring, and is out for 4 or 5 games? How do I know that he's not running through town messing with women and his baby mama got some drama and now he can't focus on football? I mean, we're mad at Kadarius Toney for not showing up to a voluntary minicamp. And we're sitting here doing all this stuff. I'm just tired of all this. But let me get to some drafts before I close out the show because it's been an hour and I'm technically on the clock. And I don't want to, get in trouble with the bus or anything like that. But the Giants, I think, are going to trade out of 7. They want more picks. I wouldn't be surprised they trade with Seattle or even possibly New Orleans and get the 2 New Orleans picks. And don't be surprised if they took a Zion Johnson there or an edge rusher at that point and then maybe a quarterback. Who knows? But the team I fear the most right now is the Eagles because they're always sneaky good with their picks. And they got 2 of them in the first round. Now, I know they want a receiver. But if you really want a guy, you got to make that call. And I know that it's against the grain to trade within your division. But if the Eagles say, hey, listen, New York, we want to get ahead of, Atlanta and the Jets at 7 and 10, then why not make that deal with them, get your 2 picks, jump ahead of the Cowboys, take Zion Johnson, hell, take Linderbaum if you want, and then you have your offensive line set for years. You know what I mean? For years. But we want to take a cornerback who, by the way, you got to look at things, right? If you guys think that Derek Stingley doesn't have any talent, you guys are misunderstood. That kid is the best corner in the draft. The only reason he's not the best corner in the draft is because he had the down season. But let me ask you this. If you are on the LSU team and they had a lot of drama this year and you're coming back, are you going to, put yourself in harm's way? You might do what Kayvon Thibodeau did. Maybe you'll take a little plays off because you know that you're going to the NFL. So, I don't, you got to just read the tea leaves. Let the Giants do what the Giants are going to do. Let the draft fall where it's going to fall because you don't know who the Giants really love. Yeah, sure, they love Neal, and let's say they take Neal. But at 7, they love Kayvon Thibodeau, but maybe they love George Karlaftis. And they know that they can get Karlaftis, at 13 or 14. So you trade up a team who wants a receiver or maybe a quarterback or even a tackle that's on the board. And you say, let me get some assets for this year. Because the thing is, Alex from the Bronx says, you think the Giants will come out with a tackle in the first round? Yes, it's an obvious question, Adam. I know. I think you need to come out with your tackle. Anything else, right? I think it's tackle and edge. If they already had their tackle, I'd be like it's edge or bust. But right now, I think it's tackle or edge. Kayla, you're asking Miz. I am not concerned with his injury concerns. I still think he's the best quarterback in the draft. It's funny people address things to each other, but you can always ask me. Don't be alarmed, chat. You can always ask the host of the show. I might know a thing or two, but yes, I would take my tackle again. I like Neal, and I'm not worried about his injury history. It's a load of caca like they did with Azeez Ojulari. I think Neal's a better prospect in the corner, and I stand by that. And if I'm wrong, so be it. Guess what? All the other scouts that get paid to do this are going to be wrong too. So, if they trade out, look for the Giants and edge rusher. I like the tight ends in this draft. My favorite tight end is Jelani Woods. I hope they can get him. I'm hearing Isaiah Likely is starting to move up boards. I wouldn't mind him either as a tight end. And the Giants are probably going to pick a hog molly on the defensive end. So look for a defensive tackle, probably in the later rounds, and a running back. I would love Jerome Ford, Kenneth Walker, or the Cook kid. The only thing I don't like about the Cook kid is he's going to be more of a scat back. Okay, he's going to be more of a scat back, not your full power on, power back. And Kenneth Walker is that. He's a bruiser. Remember Brandon Jacobs and how well he did? Now he's not as big as Brandon Jacobs. How about I put down a Rodney Hampton? If you guys remember Rodney Hampton, that's who I like. Rodney Hampton. Walker is the running back he wants badly. He's a bull. right? The thing is that yes, this is why I want him as well. Lockdown Ja'Marr Chase. Another thing, everyone's talking about colleges when they went to. Desmond Ridder went 13-1. Yet we're not talking about him as number one QB in this. It's all over the place. I guarantee you, you're going to see in 3 or 4 years, because that's when you can evaluate a draft class in 3 or 4 years. You're going to see one or two of these quarterbacks doing really well. Some of these offensive tackles that are bust. Think about this: 2020 had 4 tackles. Everyone had their flavor, right? Some were like, "Hey, don't take Andrew Thomas. You got to take Tristan Wirfs. You got to get Mekhi Becton, or you got to get who's the guy on Jarek Willis, right?" But guess what? Giants chose Andrew Thomas, and mad people were like, "He's Eric Flowers 2.0." Guess what? They're not talking about that now, are they? You got to let guys develop. You never know what coaching can do. And that's why good players, regardless of situation, will be good players. Just because they're on a bad team doesn't make them not good. Odell Beckham Jr. was a beast on a bad team. Saquon Barkley was good on a bad team. Don't let those factors deter you from what is actually going to take place. And I think a lot of people look at the player now and then look at a rookie and say, well, we got this guy now. No, you can't do that. You got to project. Project, because that's what the NFL is about. You can't think about 2023 season. Yes, you want these guys to contribute. You want these guys to contribute, but it's needed. I love the NFL. I love the fucking draft. But how many people got it wrong with Andrew Thomas? How many people got it wrong with Aaron Curry, the linebacker at Wake Forest? You don't know, because we're dealing with human entities, not robots, not Madden games. A friend of mine drafted himself in Madden as a tight end. And he put himself at 99. Guess what? Not every player is going to be a 99 coming out. You got to work your magic. You got to grab somebody now. If the Giants are smart, and we think that they're smart with this new regime, you grab the players now and worry about 2023 later. Heck, if you grab Sam Howell this year, right, and you guys bomb, Sam Howell's not preventing you from drafting whatever quarterback you could next year. He's not. As a matter of fact, it might help you because now you got a trade piece. Look at Gardner Minshew. Okay? He was drafted in the 6th round. He's had some good games. I don't know if he's a franchise guy, but he had some good games. Nick Foles played above the X's and O's and won a Super Bowl over a 1st-round pick. He was drafted in the 3rd round. I'm just saying, this is the best time of year because whatever present you open, you may like it, you may not. People people were mad at Eli Manning and called him the redheaded stepchild. Guess what? Two Super Bowl MVPs later, that guy is immortalized in Giants history. Another thing you guys need to know is that when Ernie Accorsi was drafting Justin Tuck and Corey Webster, he said this. He said those 2 guys would have been in the 1st round that year, but due to injuries, they fell. And he picked them. He picked them in the 2nd and 3rd rounds of the 2005 draft. And because of their injuries and their medicals, they ended up, would you, let me tell you, Justin Tuck, what a great player that he was for the Giants. Corey Webster came into his own, had some troubles at first, but came into his own. I wouldn't trade the guys of the world. They helped win. Ahmad Bradshaw was a 7th-round pick. And I still see the highlights of him running over the Jets for a touchdown. Or him running through the Bills defense in 2007 in the snow, getting us to the playoffs. So what the Giants need is they need a good draft class from top to bottom, right? Guys that are going to contribute. Where's Carter Coughlin? Where's Cam Brown? Where's TJ Brunson? That guy's still on the roster, hasn't played a damn down on the team. The Giants need a solid roster from the top to the bottom. Get guys that you're going to plug in, get guys you want to develop, and get guys that can contribute. And don't be afraid to push other guys off the roster. You know, a guy comes in, 6th-round pick, and he's blown it up, and you don't want Quincy Roche. Yeah, see ya. It's a business. Bye. Kevin Boss came in for Jockey, and they won a Super Bowl after he got hurt. And where was Kevin Boss taken? The 5th round. My point is, like the 2007 draft, I'll use that as an example. From top to bottom, that was a completely good draft. They had Aaron Ross, they had Boss, they had Bradshaw, they had a couple other guys in there that contributed throughout the thing. That's what you want your guys to do. Remember, the NFL, you get the best results when you can groom your guy through your program. That's why people want picks. And especially with the salary cap now, that's why you can trade these guys. Because the salary cap that they put in for these players allows these trades to happen. And so for me, tonight, I'm looking to have fun. But I'm more interested in day 2 and day 3 because those are the guys that are going to be on the roster. Those are the guys that are going to be fighting with all the people on the roster right now to make the team. And those are the guys that we hope to see here going forward. This NFL is not the NBA. You don't just worry about the first round. You got 7 other rounds. 6 other rounds after that. And we need them. And we need those guys to contribute. We need the Ahmad Bradshaws in this draft. We need the Brandon Jacobs. We need the Chris Snees, the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th round picks. You know? And the Giants have had a history of crappy 3rd round picks. They've done well in the 2nd. You know? And in the last 5 or 6 years, there's only been one guy drafted by the Giants that's got a 2nd contract, and that's Riggs. That's Sterling Shepard. So, you know, you have to have a solid draft going forward. You want guys that are going to be on this team. Whether they play special teams for 4 years, who cares? But you want guys that are going to play. You want guys in the system. You want guys that are going to be here and relied upon, right? Let's see if Joe Schoen and Brian Dable get those guys tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone in the chat, thank you so much for joining me today on this draft lunchtime edition show. Hope you got to enjoy your lunch and talk a little football. The NFL draft is on tonight, 8 p.m. Tune in to whatever station you're tuning into, whatever stream you're going to be a part of. You're probably not going to hear from me until after the draft is over because guess what? I want to be in my own element. I want to be able to throw the remote at the TV if the Giants do something crazy. But you will hear from me. This is not the end of the Hurry Up. The Hurry Up is going to have a few things going on. Not only that, premium takes with my man Jeff, Mac, and Zion. We will recap the entire draft and talk about picks that we liked, didn't like, you know, guys that we think might do well. And then round table. May the 4th be with you. NFC Roundup with Mac, the Giants fan. We are going to go in it hard on the NFC East. We're going to break down every freaking pick in the NFC East. We're going to talk about it. Say who's going to be flipping burgers at Burger King, working at Walmart, and who's going to be going to the Hall of Fame. All that type of stuff and more coming to you with Adam and Mac, the Giants fan. Get ready for it. We got a whole lot of stuff going on. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the NFL draft. It's finally here. No more guessing. No more games. It's time to get our truths and our answers answered. Thanks for being in the chat. Thanks for hanging out with me. Love y'all. Peace.